Last month I made a video on the Droitwich transmitting station that sends an embedded inaudible signal hidden within BBC Radio 4 that controls Radio Teleswitch meters in thousands of homes across the UK. Two old and irreplaceable valves make this happen, but they could die at any point, and the BBC is looking to move away from longwave transmissions on Radio 4 altogether. It's been said for a long time now that as of June the 30th, 2025, the longwave radio signal that controls the hot water and heating on and off timings for over 800,000 of these old electricity meters would end. Well, it's June the 23rd now, and in recent days there's been an update. The thousands of people with a Radio Teleswitch Service meter will not face any unexpected disruption to their heating or hot water at the end of this month. The number of outstanding Teleswitch meters has fallen massively too. The government has confirmed that there'll be a cautious and targeted phase-out to the service instead. Ministers have taken action to ensure the industry delivers a better phase-out plan from June the 30th. The plan will now begin on a significantly smaller scale, in areas with very few RTS customers, meaning energy suppliers will be ready to respond rapidly to protect households who need the most support. I want to touch on Radio 4 itself for a second, but I will go into much more detail at the end of the video. The bigger concern for us radio enthusiasts is that the BBC plans to end its longwave transmissions on Radio 4 on 198 kHz in 2025. This closure will mark the end of the BBC's longwave service, which began in 1925 from Daventry. While the BBC isn't responsible for the RTS signal, it has a historic agreement with energy companies to broadcast it. I've covered this in detail in a previous video, which I'll link below, and it's believed that the RTS signal is the only reason Radio 4 has lasted this long. It had been assumed that Radio 4 on longwave would cease broadcasting at the same time the RTS switchover was planned on the 30th of June 2025. Unconfirmed reports suggest that this isn't the case, meaning that longwave may be safe for now. However, the valves that are in the Droitwich transmitter are the last ones, and when they die, the BBC doesn't have a replacement, and you can't just throw something else in there instead. The main comments on my previous videos on this topic are along the lines of, oh well, the BBC can just replace the valves with something solid state, or they could just buy a new transmitter. Now, while I don't want to see the end of Radio 4 on longwave, and I am perhaps somewhat biased in this as a radio enthusiast, I just want to address this argument with my unbiased hat on for a second in fairness to the BBC. Many old valve transmitters have been replaced with solid-state ones that use multiple transistors in the output stages and no valves. Just because solid-state alternatives exist, and just because it may be possible, not simple, but possible to re-engineer the Droitwich transmitter, it doesn't mean that it's a good idea for the BBC. You have to consider the re-engineering costs versus the return for that investment, and as if the BBC says the number of longwave listeners is falling all the time, and there's a viable alternative to the RTS, which is smart meters and time clocks, then the business case for re-engineering isn't likely to be fruitful. It's not often that decisions like this are made without a commercial interest in mind, let's face it, and I get that. Yes, the current technology is outdated and coming to the end of its life, as the BBC put it. It may be expensive to maintain or refurbish the transmitter as they claim. They could buy a new replacement transmitter, it's not like they can't afford it, but again, there has to be a return on that investment. Many broadcasters make use of newer second-hand transmitters from other broadcasters. Wufferton Transmitting Station received a second-hand but still modern transmitter last year for one of its services that came all the way from a station in the Far East. Again, in the BBC's eyes, if it doesn't see a financial benefit for doing this, it simply won't. One source I read claims that Thales are still able to make as many valves as needed, but require a lead time of up to 12 months. How true this is, I don't know, but again, even if it's possible, there'll be a significant cost that the BBC has to weigh up. But we'll come back to the pressure it's facing regarding Radio 4 soon. To quickly recap RTS for a minute, a radio teleswitch is a device used primarily to allow electricity suppliers to switch large numbers of electricity meters between different tariff rates by broadcasting an embedded signal in everyday broadcast radio signals. In simple terms, a radio signal is used to switch certain electricity meters between peak and off-peak rates. It's also been used in multi-rate meters to support customers who rely on electricity for heating and hot water, such as those using electric storage heaters, panel heaters, or immersion heaters. I said in my last video that another delay to the end of the RTS would be inevitable. In late 2020, SSE, one of the major users of the service, began informing its customers that Teleswitch meters would be withdrawn and replaced with alternative solutions. Since then, there's been a series of extensions, with a 2021 deal securing Teleswitch until mid-2024. As of October 2024, there were still over 800,000 Radio Teleswitch meters still needing to be replaced, and in January this year, the RTS Task Force launched an advertising campaign to encourage customers to have their meters upgraded. Ofgem expected energy suppliers to replace all of these meters by the 31st of March 2025. The big problem was that energy companies wouldn't be able to roll out that many smart meters by the deadline. Replacing RTS meters with smart meters by the 31st of March meant that they'd need to install around 21,500 smart meters per day just to RTS customers. Currently, they're managing over 9,000 installations a day for all customers. Some energy firms have already replaced 75% of their customers' RTS meters, while others have only managed 10% according to Ofgem statistics. A task force set up by Ofgem has seen the upgrade rate rise from 1,000 meters per month to more than 1,000 per day, while Energy UK said installation rates have increased from 1,000 per month to 1,800 per day. The gradual and targeted phase-out will focus on Scotland and rural and remote areas. There are still 105,000 RTS meters installed in Scotland. Overall, slow progress to replace these meters has left 314,935 households in Great Britain still using them as of the end of May 2025, equal to around 1% of British households. The first stage of the phase-out will target specific localised areas, affecting a maximum of 600 households over a 3-week period. In most cases, the switchover will involve switching to a smart meter which can work in the same way as an RTS meter, with automatic peak and off-peak rates and the ability to turn heating and hot water systems on and off, ensuring minimal disruption to households. For RTS customers that live in an area without a smart meter signal, their supplier will explain what other options are available before the radio signal is switched off. Energy suppliers are obligated under their licence conditions to ensure that a suitable alternative metering system is installed and that the customer service is not disrupted. So, back to Radio 4. A petition with over 5,000 signatures was handed in to a representative at Broadcasting House on June the 7th. The petition was delivered to the Director General's office and a response is still pending. It can still be signed, and I'll leave a link in the description. Many believe that it's unwise to switch the Radio 4 service, which covers the entire UK, using just 3 transmitters off. It would be a valuable tool to distribute news and information in the event of a large-scale emergency, in much the same way Spain and Portugal did in their recent power blackouts. The BBC claims that Longwave is outdated, energy-intensive and has few listeners, but the report, still speaking to the nations by researcher Dr. Tobias Thorne, suggests otherwise. His analysis revealed that Longwave uses just 4% of the BBC's analogue output power, and that their FM networks consume significantly more energy, up to 6 times as much, due to the hundreds of transmitters required to reach the same audience. Again, there's a video on the whole FM network I made recently in the description below. A few of my commenters said that Radio 4 on Longwave is rubbish, sounds bad, and that we only want it to remain for nostalgia and historic significance. While this is partly true, in this age of advanced digital technologies, Radio 4 on Longwave remains the only means of broadcasting to the entire nation from just 3 transmitters, free from the security vulnerabilities that online and digital platforms are subject to. This is a big part of the case to the BBC for retaining the service. Many of my commenters said that they don't listen to the service as there are alternatives, but Thorne's paper found that the service is still relied on by rural communities, seafarers and those with limited digital access. The shipping forecast still depends on the 198 kHz signal, yet the BBC has never surveyed those rural areas or seafaring groups to understand their listening habits. Will mounting pressure on the BBC lead to a review of these plans or a decision to shelve the idea? As of now, it hasn't published any updates regarding the end of Radio 4 on Longwave, so it's anyone's guess. All we have to go off is the vague term sometime in 2025.